is today? It's another day, another good day, another bright day. Today we're having a lady. That makes me happy. We'll be having gentlemen, so we're gonna have a lady today. And the lady, she's from South Africa. She's become my good friend, and yeah, we have like minds. She's really a lovely person. So she is going to speak on steel. She's working in a South African company called Euro Steel. She's known as the Lady of Steel. She's more in the marketing department, but she seems to know quite a bit about steel. So, yeah. So let's look forward to the interview, and we look forward to your feedback. Though, you guys should give us feedback in the YouTube page. That would be great. Thank you. Bye bye. Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
No, but thank you. How is it in
Okay.
SA, in South Africa now today?
It's been exceptionally hot today, and now this evening we've got some good rain. So yeah, it's going well.
Good, good. So we just go right into it now. So, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, and yeah, give us a background about yourself.
Well, my name is Teressa Shone. I'm based here in South Africa. I've been in the steel industry for the last 17 years. Prior to working with my company that I'm at the moment, which I've been for 15 years now, I was in the laser cutting industry. So that's kind of like where it all started. And then from there, I joined a company called Eurosteel, and I've been working with them now, like I said, the last 15 years. I'm recently married. So we're going on for our second anniversary quite soon. So that's quite exciting. And then I'm also a student. So in the evenings, I'm studying towards my BCom degree. Started a little bit late with it, but you know what? I'm never too old to learn. So
Definitely.
and then yeah, I'm very passionate about people. I'm very passionate about the environment. I'm very passionate about, as we've seen with some of the conversations that you and I have had along the lines of plastic and what can we do, and new ways of introducing solutions for the current plastic issues, and how we can design something completely new around it. And
Wonderful.
yeah, so yeah, that's Teresa in a nutshell.
Good. Yeah, because I was gonna ask you, what's your biggest strength? Well, you started giving me a bit of it, so you can go ahead.
Well, I would say my biggest strength is people. I relate to people across all walks of life very easily, and as a result, I'm able to help people to work on solutions and work on ideas that would either benefit themselves personally or even their companies as well. So I probably say the biggest strength then for me would be I suppose connector. I think that's probably my biggest strength. I like to connect people, as you well know.
Yes, I do.
The right people for the right information for the right applications, and so on and so forth.
Okay, that's a good one. So, what would you say is your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness, and you and I have chatted about this before as well, is that I can be very excitable, I suppose you could put it. I'm a highly driven woman. I'm also a very passionate woman, and I am in an industry that traditionally was more of a male-dominated industry. So over the years, I have learned to maybe bring that excitement down just a little bit. I think sometimes I can maybe scare people a little bit.
Are you sure?
But that's just a little. But I am a extremely passionate person, and like I said, it can be a little off-putting maybe if you're not used to me, or if you're not used to the my personality. Whereas I love helping people. I love being able to look at a situation, look at an environment, and go, okay, well, you know what can we do to do things better? How can we improve the processes? How can we improve the situation or the environment, whether it's got to do with a business environment or whether it's actually got to do with Mother Nature environments. I'm always looking at ways on how can we make those things better. And if you don't know that about me, you can also take my enthusiasm probably in the wrong context. And so, yeah, I often find myself having to explain myself.
No, it's good to be you. It's good to be you. I probably will ask you. With regards to finishes, would you say, are you happy with the level of finish, the way you see it now? Well, also with regards to your skill that you are into.
Yes. Okay. So, as you and I have discussed as well, offline and previously on WhatsApp conversations, in the past or in the recent past, I would say that there's a combination. You have got some exceptional fabricators that are out there with beautiful finishes that are very meticulously done, where you can see the passion behind it. And other instances, you can see where the finishes aren't so great. Maybe the welding hasn't been done to the best of the person's ability, or it could be that it is to the best of their ability. However, they haven't received the right training. And that is something that I think we'll delve into a little bit later as well. But to answer your question, globally, finishing and the end product that's handed over from to a construction company or to an architect, once the whole project is complete, there does seem to be a bit of a lack. For a better word, I can't think of one off the top of my head right now, but there does seem to be a bit of a lack on the quality of the finishes, the right materials being used, the costing that's probably gone into it, or in the background part of it, in the construction industry. And you'd know this as well, especially with being an architect and with some of the projects that your company has worked on. People do look at ways on how they can save time and save money. Unfortunately, finishing is one of the areas where often the time factor comes in, and they need to do the handover quickly, and they want you hand over the building, and it's those finite little touches that get left behind. So when it comes to the different finishes, and again I say this globally, not just a South African thing, not just as a European thing, or as within the African continent, all over the world, you get really bad construction work, and you get really bad finishing. I saw a lot of it when I was in England as well, where you'd have someone doing the work who's not necessarily fully qualified enough to do it. An example would be where you might have someone who is really good at doing mild steel welding, as an example, but you're now doing a stainless steel balustrade, as you and I have chatted about previously. And the type of welding and the finishing that you need to do with that stainless steel balustrading compared to mild steel is leaps and bounds, the major difference. So you have to make sure that the people you've got doing the fabrication and doing the welding and doing those final touches and the finishing are qualified or trained to do so in the various materials. Because mild steel, aluminium, and stainless steel are all very different in the way that they are welded and worked with and fabricated. So you want to make sure that you are, or that your fabricators are well adversed, and that they know that you can't take, say for instance, a grinder. So like they've welded something, and they've grinded it, and they've because you will have something called cross-contamination. And you've got cross-contamination, you'll have corrosion on the surface of the stainless steel. And there's 1 or 2 slides that I'll be able to show you where that's actually happened.
Okay. So, with regards to you're talking about various types of steel. So, do you feel
Yes.
that people misinterpret them and use them wrongly? Is that part of the problem, or?
Yeah, to answer that question, absolutely. There's combinations where you've either got the right type of steel but the wrong grade. So, for instance, if you're doing a, let's take balustrading, simple, easy application, most people understand or know what we're talking about. So, either handrails or balustrading, and you are putting that into an application where it's a new hotel, it's gone up next to the ocean, and this is now your balustrading on the outside of the hotel. Because you've got that sea air that's now blowing onto that balustrading, your corrosion factors are much higher. Whereas if you take that same hotel, move it inland, and we move it away from the sea, and we move it away from all those extra corrosion factors, then you could use a lesser grade of stainless steel, or you could still work with that same 316 stainless steel, but your surface corrosion and the surface, the look of your stainless steel will stay cleaner for much longer. There's something that is also misunderstood about stainless steel in the architectural applications, and that is that often people think, once I put in my stainless steel, I can somehow just leave it. Or very South African slang coming out here. But yeah, once I put in the stainless steel into application, I don't need to clean it. I don't need to worry about it. I can just leave it like that. And that is completely incorrect. The fabricators, as well as the end client, they need to understand that if you are using, I'm going to use stainless steel for this particular example. If you are using stainless steel for those applications, no matter what it is, you need to still, there was a gentleman who I have to tell you about him. His name is Mr. Ian Nelson Dews. Mr. Ian, or Mr. Dews, he was the godfather of stainless steel. 17 years ago, when I was still wet behind the ears and I didn't know Arthur from Martha or 304 from 316 or any of those things, Mr. Dews came along, took me under his wing, as he did with many other professionals in our industry, and he taught us something very interesting. And I'll never forget his words. He said to me, "Teresa, my lovey, my darling, stainless steel's like a lady. If you look after her and you caress her, she'll look after you. But if you ignore her and you don't look after her and you don't clean her, there's nothing is worse than a woman's revenge."
Please tell them again.
So that was something that for years and years, it always sticks in my head. And when I'm working, especially when I'm working with clients who are diversifying, they're going from traditionally doing mild steel, but now they want to take on doing stainless steel work because it is that much more of a niche, a calling or a niche industry. And I often remind them about that, or I'll tell them that story because you can't forget it.
Yes, it's very,
If you think that your stainless steel needs to be cleaned, well, if you don't, then you know you are going to have corrosion. And again, I will show you examples of what happens if you ignore your stainless steel and you don't look after it and you don't clean it. So especially from an architectural point of view, whether your building has been cladded in stainless steel, whether you've got balustrading, whether you have got, for the heavier engineering, if you've got stainless steel tanks, and eventually what happens is those tanks start looking a little bit, we call it tea-stained, which is the corrosion. We've actually now brought in chemicals for cleaning those items, because in the past, most people would actually just pull it out and put in a new one. But as you know, money is tight all over the world at the moment. And we've got to look at ways of less wastage, ways of doing things differently, so that we have got a sustainable environment that we can give to our kids one day. You don't have it that you're just taking something out for the hell of it. You want to make sure that, have we done every single solution possible to reuse something? Our society these days have become what's called a throwaway society, and it's with everything. It's with your clothes, it's with your food, it's with your even metal. I mean, the amount of buildings that I see where they are taken, say an old, recently I had a look at one. It was an old shopping mall, and they were converting it into a day clinic, especially now for COVID. We've got very high levels of COVID still in South Africa, and we are still needing these day clinics and day hospitals. And one of the things they did was, there was beautiful, exquisite balustrading inside this particular old shopping mall. They just ripped it out. They ripped it out, scrapped it, and then started designing a new set around it. And in my mind, I'm going, wow, like you could have used that. And there is ways of, if for instance, if the balustrading was scratched, let's change the surface of it. Let's look at ways of trying to work with it without having to actually go and scrap it.
So when you talk about reusing metal, would that have to do with like artwork, scrap, things like that, or there's something else, some other way we can use it?
Yeah. We've got some artists that over the years, they have done some exquisite work. I actually tried to see if I could find I think it was a praying mantis that was done in stainless steel. But I sent a message through to one of the gentlemen that was working with us on that particular project. When I've got it, I'll forward it through to you, and maybe you can share it on your
That would be nice.
with your group, because it's something that shows that you don't just have to use it for within a building. You can take various metals and you can create something so beautiful with just the heat. When you apply it onto the metal and you work with it, you can actually warp it into the various shapes that you want to. You can laser cut it into, if you're wanting to put signage up, for instance, you can laser cut and put anything you want onto the materials. And I think one of the things that you and I were chatting about a little while back was the different finishes that you get in stainless steel and aluminium as well, with color. You can get color the same as the Nigerian green flag behind you. You can get like a bright purple, brighter than my shirt actually, of stainless steel as well. And aluminium for cladding your buildings or for cladding your offices. You want to create a unique new environment for your office staff or for one of your clients, then I think there might be a separate conversation that we can have. I'll get a couple of slides together on the colors, and I'll share it with your viewers and with your followers.
That would be nice. That would be really nice. Wow, so much information, so much information. I want you to emphasize those of the materials you said, or some of the finishes you said that when the stainless steel. I would like you to kind of emphasize some of that.
Can I go onto those two slides for you quickly?
Sure. You can. I'll let you share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So share your screen now.
Okay, let me just it's the first that I'm trying to see if I can share a screen on this one, so just give me 1 second. Share screen, got it. It's a bright green share. Right, just let me know when you can see it.
You can see you.
Okay, so as you can see here, like on your presentation with your video, you say bad finishes. This is a bad finish, and this is because the wrong product was used for an application right by the ocean. So anytime where there's an ocean application, you want to make sure that you are using 316 stainless steel as an absolute minimum. Like I said to you before, we have got 5 metallurgists within our group that if there are queries that come through from clients, and if they are wanting to know, what materials should they be working with, and if it's a very technical spec that they are looking at, or even something simple. I mean, any of your guys, if they turn around and say, Aisha, I want you to build a staircasing, or I want you to put a gate up, but I don't know what materials to use, you are more than welcome to send me an email. You can either contact me on Shone, SHONE, at eurosteel.co.za, and ask those questions. And I will be more than happy to assist you. Or if you want to send that information through to Aisha, and Aisha can email me, and if I can't answer the question, I'll make sure that I can at least put somebody on that will be able to answer those questions. So like I said, in this slide, you can see, bad idea. Wrong material, wrong application. Now, if we go up here, you'll see the same type of material. This is now 57 years after being in application. So there's your 304 with your tea staining on it. So I just want to see if I can zoom into this one. Does it come out okay on the side, on your side?
It's okay, but you could zoom it in if you like.
Okay, let me try to see if I can do, oh, no, escape. Teething.
Yeah, you could, yeah, full screen. Oh. Yeah.
I tried to see if I could get it to zoom in. It's not letting me.
It's the zoom.
There we go. 100%. Okay. No, that zoomed in that thing. It didn't zoom in this. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. Is that big enough?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I'm going to zoom it a little bit more for the other slides. Let's do 130. Okay. So here is an example of wrong material. So you can see how it's eaten away. This was an application that was down on the coast, and it usually takes not a very long time for it to get eaten like this. And what happens is your sea air settles onto the metal and it starts to pit, which almost looks like little dots. And then eventually, because of the environment is so corrosive, it then creates an entire hole like you see over here. Okay, then the one where it's, you got the same application, which is on the coast, and then this is let me see if I can move this up. This is a 304 stainless steel. Oopsie. Don't know what happened there.
Lord.
It jumped. It's not used to me touching these slides, that's why. So this one here would be like your 304, where you can see the tea staining that's on here, and then your 316. Over the years though, because of things like your global warming, because of environments becoming that much more acidic and more corrosive compared to what it used to be in the past, we're finding that even your 316s are starting to have this effect on the coast. So there are other steels that we call duplex stainless steels for coastal application and in saltwater applications. Again, that's the questions that are more than welcome to be sent through to yourself, Aisha, and then I'll be more than happy to assist to answer those for your viewers and for your followers.
Thank you.
Okay. And then, so this one here is something very interesting. So you and I spoke about this on our WhatsApp chats a little while back. Over here is an example of the wrong finish for a stainless steel. Now this is, when we say the wrong finish, we mean the surface area of your stainless steel. Now what you can see on your right hand side over here is a very rusted looking piece of steel. That looks like it's mild steel, correct?
You know,
What do you think?
I
No,
don't
no, no.
know.
I'm asking you, and this is an ask and answer session.
Right, right. Yeah,
So,
so is it mild still? I'll say yes, okay. I have no
so
idea.
this is actually not mild steel. This is
Okay.
stainless steel, but it's a brushed
Oh,
stainless
wow.
steel that has been used in the wrong application. So if you are using brushed stainless steel, use it in your inside applications. If you're using it like this on a gate, this is a swing gate right down on the coast. I think this one's in Cape Town, if I'm not mistaken. I was trying to see the actual picture of it. You can see there's the ocean over here. I don't know
Mm,
if you can see that.
can see
So
it.
yeah, so this is now on the ocean. Over here you see a bright stainless steel, which is a high polished stainless steel. And then I'm going to zoom in even further because I want to show you something here.
The
When you and I
joint.
were talking,
The joint.
yeah, exactly. So I think you can already see where I'm going with this. Hey, why don't you let me zoom in? 150. Let's click on here. I just want to see if I can zoom this a little bit further for you.
200.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. So if we have a look at not the steel products, wait, what's going on here? Well, here's a good example, your corrosion map of South Africa.
Okay.
I do apologize. This thing's bouncing. There we go. So if you have a look at the welds over here, you'll see that there is a bit of corrosion that's over there. And even if you look in the corners here, that's your finishing. So that there, when I say finishing in this specific instance, it's your welding. So your welding, you must always make sure, if you are welding stainless steel, that you pickle and repassivate it. If you do not pickle and repassivate your stainless steel when you are fabricating with it, you will have surface corrosion, you'll have crevice corrosion, and where these welds are over here, I'm going to use my mouse, where these welds are over here, that'll be the first place that you'll find that the product will fail. So eventually a hole will be eaten here, another hole will be eaten there, and another hole will be eaten there, purely because it hasn't been, the weld itself wasn't cleaned and pickled and passivated correctly after the actual fabrication. Yeah, and like I was saying with this one here, this is what we would call a brushed finish or 180. This should be either a 2B finish or it should be a polished finish, so you don't get this surface corrosion appearing on your stainless steel.
That's wonderful. A lot of knowledge in that picture. So yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. If you say a picture, it says 1,000 words.
So that's good. Yeah. So you were talking about when you were discussing. Sorry, before this, you were talking about like the babas. There's a generation where they used to. I don't know. Remember what you said, and then they don't do that anymore.
Yes.
And
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when we're talking about pickling and passivation, in previous years, what you would find, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my camera. Previous years, what you would find is that if you were working with a closed environment, so like a piping system or a tank and then a piping system, so like your breweries and that type of thing, they would pickle and passivate inside the entire length of the pipe, going into the tank itself and that type of thing. Whereas the more recent generations have kind of like forgotten about it, I suppose you could say. Only recently are people starting to really look at pickling and passivating inside those pipes, pickling and passivating inside those tanks. And I've noticed a bit of a trend where it's come to pharmaceutical, especially with pharmaceutical applications. That seems to be where the pickling of the full tank and the pipe system and the repassivation of the full tank and pipe system is coming through again. And like I said to you, we actually we brought in the chemicals for doing this because we started noticing more and more people were asking questions about it, and they were looking at different environments where the chemical or the something like blood is exceptionally corrosive. So any environment where you've got blood platelets, or you've got blood being processed or being stored, it needs to have the right grade of stainless steel for it. So usually we would say a minimum of a 316 stainless steel, because the corrosion factor with human blood it's frightening. Next time if you cut yourself on your kitchen sink, that's usually like a 304 or sometimes a 430. Leave a little bit of blood there. Watch what happens in the next like couple of days. You'll see that it will tarnish your stainless steel.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah. Then I'll sell you the chemical to clean it.
Sure. That's good because I'm so happy with what you're saying, because like especially in places we have coastal areas in Nigeria, like Lagos, and there's so many reclaimed lands, and so people around that area, they do have that problem with the corrosion, like the light fittings, the handles of the doors. They have to keep changing it. Have to keep changing it.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, that's probably the problem.
Absolutely. So what you would probably find is that, especially in those areas where there's high corrosion, if there's any applications where they would be using stainless steel, or even if they've used mild steel, maybe just have a look at some of those. And like you and I discussed the other day, take some pictures, forward it through to me. You know, we can look at it and say, well, you know, for this particular application, maybe an aluminium would have been better, or maybe a stainless steel would have been better, because you've got so many different, and this is something that, you know, I always like, I think in my sleep I must say this: the right material for the right application. And it's the same as like I always chat to you about various professionals. You want to make sure that the right professional is giving you the right advice. So and you know, there's been a couple of contacts that I've sent through to you for the guys who specialize in welding, like Owen, or the guys who specialize in the fixing solutions, like I think it's Dimitri, if I'm not mistaken, or like Craig, who we were chatting about this earlier this evening, where the guys, though their speciality is making sure that the correct type of welding is being done, or that you know, they even go into companies and then they would train them on how to use or work with the welding equipment and the welding rods, and you know, so on and so forth. And the same with the fixing. They would actually come through, look at the application. I mean, Craig from Hilti, he had some great questions this evening where I was like, he was asking me whether or not the bricks were solid bricks or they were hollow bricks, and I'm like, hollow bricks? I didn't know that we got those. So I said to him that any questions on that type of thing, I'm just going to redirect them to either to him or to their representative in Africa, because I just said to him, that's not my forte, but I love connecting people. So if I can connect you to them, fantastic.
Yeah, lovely. So that means we're going to do a part 2 with all these names you're calling, yeah, with the Dimitri and whoever. So we're going to like, yeah, that's our part 2.
We're going to have to get them online and say, yo, Dimitri, what's up?
Nice one. So yeah, so yeah, thanks. So on a lighter note, I'd like to ask, so who do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Well, hopefully, like I said to you earlier, that recently married for 2 years. So in 5 years, hoping to be a mummy. As well as I'm hoping that my degree would be like 99.9% finished. And then, I suppose my biggest thing would be able to still connect as many people and to help people to grow, whether it's with their businesses or whether it's with themselves personally. as you know, I love people. I love being able to help people and their various dreams and aspirations and goals. I often have those conversations with my clients, and like at the end of it, then we're like, "Hey, listen, what skill are you needing?"
Nice,
I think
nice.
I know more about my clients' dreams and goals and aspirations, and where they want to take their businesses to, than what I know about my own company, or the company that I work for, because those are the lines of conversations that we have, and I think that's why over the years I've related to and connected so well with my customers, and then hopefully with the type of work that we're doing as well now, I'd love to connect with the rest of the speakers and what's their goals, what's their
Yeah,
aspirations.
that would be great. That would be like that would be like series two. Yeah, so that's good.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's a good one. So I wanted to ask you, so what book made an impact on you?
I would say there are two. I was actually thinking about it again today, and one of the books that I read when I was in England, it was How to Change Your Life in 7 Days by Paul McKenna. When I read that book, it was actually through reading the book that I made the decision to come back to South Africa. Often people ask me the question, "Oh, you were in England. Why did you come back to South Africa?" And it's something that only really a South African or someone from Africa can answer, because I suppose maybe wherever it is that you are in the world, it's home.
Mhm. Home is home.
It's like it's in your soul, it's in your heart. And there was just something that when I was reading that book, that and it asks you to visualize, where do you see yourself, where do you where was the time that you were the most happy, or where was the time that you were the most energetic, or where you felt that you had the most amount of confidence. And then it tells you to take those moments, and then it's when you read the words, it's like you close your eyes, and it's like it gives you a little exercise. It says to you, close your eyes. Where are you? What sounds do you hear? Whose voices are you hearing? What smells can you smell? What colors are bright? And the more I was doing those little exercises, and I suppose you can say almost like a little bit of a meditation, the more I realized that where I was from a career point of view, and also from a personal point of view, when I was in England, was that I wanted to be home. I wanted to be with my family, and most importantly, I actually wanted to be back with my company, because I loved being able to deal with my clients the way that I do. I laughed. I had a couple messages when I was overseas as well, and my one boss was like, "Hey, when you're coming back, your customers keep asking for you."
Lovely. That's
And
a good one.
they were like, yeah, they were like, we can't keep telling them that you're in England. Like we need an answer here. And I, funny enough, came back home for a holiday. And while I was here on holiday, my company said to me, "Listen, while you're here, you know, go see some of your customers. Your family's
Mm,
working, your friends
mm,
are working. You might as well get a little bit of pocket money while you're here." And I did. And it made me also then as well change my mind, where I was like, you know what, definitely what I was visualizing when I was reading that book, it was clear as day. And I had to pack up everything in England and move all my stuff back to South Africa. But I knew in my heart of hearts that I was doing the right thing, because I was coming home to family, and I was also coming home to not just my company but to my customers. And I
mm.
love them. They've got such a special place in my heart, that I don't think I could ever describe it. But yeah, like I said, I know so much about my clients and about their families and about their dreams and their business goals, that it feels like I'm with them in that journey. So yeah, so that was the first book in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And then the second book that I would say that had the biggest, I would, what was the word you used?
Impact.
Impact. Yes. Yeah. The book that I say had the biggest impact was for our leadership team. One of our directors said to us that he wanted us to read a book. It was called Who Moved My Cheese? And for the life of me, I can't remember who the author is right now. And it was all about, and it sounds very odd, it was about these two mice and these two mini people. And it's the type of book that you can sit down on a rainy afternoon and you can finish reading it, or on a Saturday morning with a good cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and you'll be able to finish reading it. Or even if you're looking for something interesting to teach your kids, a really good lesson about life and about people and about personalities and what drives people, like really the the core of what would drive a person. This will be a book you could read to them. And for us as a leadership team, what was the most interesting takeaway from it was the conversations that we had afterwards. Because you had these four little characters. You had Sniff, Scurry, I think was his name. If I call him Scat, you know who I'm talking about. I mean Scurry. So you had Sniff, Scurry, him, and Haw. And each one of these little characters had a very specific personality type. And you'd have Sniff, who would sniff out that there's cheese down the maze, and off he would go. And like he would point his nose in the direction, and you had Scurry, who would like put on his little shoes and off he would go and find the cheese that Sniff has now found, or that he's sniffed out. And then you'd have him and Haw, who were the tiny little people characters. And him would, I hope I get their names correct on this, him would be more willing to change a situation. And when he saw that the cheese in their home was starting to become diminished or was really starting to run out, he realized that, I've got to do something different. And whereas Paul was like kind of like looking at going, well, I'm comfortable. I don't want to leave. I like it here. Yes, the cheese is not here at the moment, or it's dwindling, but more cheese will come. And as you and I both know, in life, in business, in everything, if you become complacent and you just assume it's going to come to you, it's not how life works. You have got to work for it. You've got to change your mindset. You've got to look at things from a different perspective. You've got to look at ways of, and I know you now spoke about collaborating differently, so that you can then find the new cheese. So without giving too much away with the book, I would highly recommend that if you've got an hour or so, and okay, speed reading an hour, maybe it takes about 2 hours normal reading, take the book, sit down, find a quiet place, and I can guarantee you that once you've read it, you'll be sitting there going, so-and-so in my company is this character, and so-and-so is Sniff. Yes, they definitely got Sniff's characteristic. And you can actually say to them, like, you can also say to them, you know what, as a team and as a group, it's great reading it, because then you all actually start to have different types of conversations, but you also understand each other better. And what drives you, in the core of your core, what actually drives you? What type of personality are you? And then, you can take those conversations and build on them. And when I say build on them, you start looking at what's called your thumbprint, which is what is your reason for waking up in the morning doing what you do? Like, what is your actual reason? Because once you know what your main reason is, or what your why is, then you know your core reason for going to work, creating a sustainable environment, company, team, and then also you know that, well, once I've achieved this, my why, it could be your family, it could be your kids, it could be that you want to provide the best education for them. So when you know what that why is, you will graft that much harder. you will work to get to your goals professionally that much more focused and intensely, because you know at the end of the day what it's going to bring to you.
Thank you so much. That was very concise, very in there. At least we know where we should be going. So what you're saying is we should be open to change. That's what I get from what you said.
Absolutely. And a powerful mindset. If you know where you want to go, and like I say to you, these are the conversations I have with my clients as well. If you know what your ultimate goals are and what drives you towards those goals, and if you to visualize, so I'll give you one to work with this evening when we finish. Visualize where you want to be in the next 5 years. So now I've switched the tables on you, Aisha. Visualize where you want to be in the next 5 years, and you tell me about it. You tell me what it is, but remember, you've got to make sure it's concise. You've got to make sure that you know exactly who, what, where, when, how. Who needs to know about my goals? How are they going to work with me on my goals? And for me personally, what am I going to do? What are my who, what, where, when, hows? And then also with goals, and this is something that in the past I know I used to forget about, is you need to also look at what are the potential shortcomings of not achieving that goal. So it's going to be a further motivation to achieve your goal, but also what is the potential, what do you call it, speed bumps. So say for instance you want to implement a new design or concept or idea. Where is it that that idea could become derailed, so that when you look at it and you've already prepared for that. If that comes to light, you've already got plan A, B, C, and D to make sure that that speed hump, you get over it. And then you're able to achieve that goal so much more faster. At least that's what my personal experience. I find that to be able to achieve the goal faster. Members as well as family members. And then also you have that much more passion to actually get that goal going. And you're an exceptionally passionate person from all our conversations that you and I have had. This is why we get on so well.
Yes, is where I
One
like
of the
it.
reasons. Yes.
Yes.
And we will definitely be visiting each other soon.
Thank you. Definitely. So yeah, now I'm going to turn the tables on the audience. So what you've said I should do, I'm going to turn it on the audience so that by the end of the summit, everybody should say say it again, your why, who and what, or
Okay. So everyone who's attending the summit, you must evaluate. Look at where you are currently. Look at where you're wanting to go. How you're wanting to achieve it. And remember something with your goals as well, is that sometimes your goals there's about 45 steps, or can be up to like 45 steps to get to a goal to its completion. So don't think that if you say that I want to be able to be the leader in my industry within the next 6 months with 20% more customers online with us, and I want to be able to have $1 million in the bank account. I don't know. You got to make it realistic. So your SMART, SMART.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your sustainable, measurable, attainable, realistic, and tangible.
Okay.
Yeah. Tangible. So you can also add time, yes. So you must make sure that you're following the SMART setup. And then maybe, Aisha, we need to just put that in one of the links down below, but just put the SMART so that each person can go back, look at their goals. Is it a SMART goal? And take that goal as well and decide, there's a few questions you got to ask yourself. Does this goal appeal to my core beliefs? If the goal does, tick, go for it. If the goal doesn't, cross, next one. So you can have maybe, I don't know, I remember the one year I started off and I wrote down 100 goals, which is just crazy, but it was for me to achieve in the space of 10 years. And one of them was to ride a camel.
Where where are you gonna ride it? In Saudi, in Dubai, yeah.
Dubai, I did. And then the camel tried to bite my toe and its breath stank.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all these like little, write down, each person must just go, write down 10 goals. Then take those 10 goals and break it up. I think what I'm going to do is we'll do a chat with Aisha on goals and setting of them, if that's okay, Aisha. We can do a separate one on that.
Yeah, we're gonna do a write-up and then send it out to the audience, and then they can give their feedback on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll send some information through. I think that's actually best, because to try and go into the why and the goal setting in a short period of time will not give it the right amount of how would you say, justice, because it is so imperative. If you can get those goals right, and I mean, it's everything from, you can have a goal to have a better health, as an example. You could have a goal to buy a home. You could have a goal to get a new pair of shoes or to run a marathon. But all of those, they have to be very concise. And I'll chat with Aisha a little bit further on this topic, and I'll get some information to her to post, so that the followers and the seminar attendees have got some more information on there.
Thank you so much. That will be awesome. Yeah. So our closing. So do I still ask you what's your advice to the youth and the upcoming?
That's a new one. Okay, well, I would say my advice would be to. Can I think about this?
Off the biggest thing, the first thing that comes to you.
Yeah, top of my head, find ways of doing things better. Find ways of working with people and being kind. I think that's probably the biggest thing with anything, is just be kind. There is such a cruel world that is out there, and I think every person just needs to remember that you walking in shoes that I'm not, and I'm walking in shoes that you're not. And if you see someone who looks like they're having a bad day, okay, with Corona we can't go give them hugs, and with our mask it's hard to smile, but you can smile with your eyes. So if you just so you know what I mean. I've got masks that have got like googly eyes on them, just to make people smile. I'll show you some of mine on our WhatsApp chats, but you know what I mean. But if each person can just, and the youngsters, just think of ways of being kinder to people, to help wherever you can, and also to look at things from, how can I reuse this? How can I make a difference in somebody's life today? And the other thing is, don't look at it as in to make a difference and what can I get from it, because that's something that unfortunately lots of people look at. What's in it for me? Why must I do it? What's in it for me? What can I get out of it? It's more, what can you do for somebody else, and know in your heart of hearts that you've done something that put a smile on their face. If you see somebody at the shops and they're getting their bread and their polony, and you can see that they're scratching through their coins, and we often see it, offer to pay for that little, just say to them, it might be R5, or obviously we've got different currencies, but it doesn't have to be a massive gesture. It can be very small. It could even just pick a flower and give it to the lady that works in your office, and you can see maybe she's had a bad day or whatever it is. Just share the kindness and just try and be nicer to people. Yeah, be nice.
Be nice. Thank you
Be
so
nice.
much.
Be kind. Be nice.
Yeah. I've said it like 10 times now, but I'll say it again. So thanks for coming on, and it has been quite insightful having you. Have a lovely day.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I've loved chatting to you, and I can't wait for us to talk again.
Definitely. Definitely very
Awesome.
soon. All right. All the
Thanks,
best.
Aisha.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Yes, all the best to you too. Bye.